Hello folks, one and all, welcome back to more New Cats, baby. It's good to see you guys, or rather good to talk to you guys, even though no one's here. I'm by myself and I'm losing my mind. We are very deep into this Dynasty mode now, but it doesn't matter because we're national champs for the third time in this Dynasty. It's our first national title since 2017, I believe is when we beat Miami, but we just beat Air Force for the second time to win another national title. What's even crazy about Air Force, dude, I'm just going to continue going on about this. What's even crazier about that is that we played them in the first season. So if you go back, far back on my channel, back when my videos were a lot worse than they are now. They're still pretty bad, but they were significantly worse when I started, naturally, as things are, when I was a lot less comfortable doing this. But we played them in the second or third game, I think. It was one of our out-of-conference games in our very first season, and it was 7-3, I think, is what I won. And I played that game. Like, that's back when I played the games. Part of the reason why I stopped doing that is because, 7-3 against Air Force, that's not entertaining content. It just isn't. Hopefully editing around a 22-7 Orange Bowl against Air Force is a lot better. But yeah, so that's, I just find that funny how, because even in that season, Air Force finished like 11-2, and we were one of the two that they lost, and they've just been good in this entire dynasty, and we've kind of been all over the place. So we get a couple All-Americans now as we go over the American thing here. I wanted to keep track of this. I tried to keep track of them as I was recording, and it just kind of, it prevented me from like actually like recording, you know what I mean, because I'd stall while I was like trying to type it in on my phone, because as I mentioned a bunch of times, I keep the data the spreadsheets on my phone right next to me while I record these, just so I can kind of call back to some interesting stats here, and everything else is pretty much just memory, or what I can garner from on screen numbers and such. So I tried to keep track of that, but I was not able to. So we've had a bunch of All-Americans over the course of this dynasty. I don't think that matters too much. The other thing that does matter, though, that I'm going to have to go back and maybe see if I can round up those numbers, is all the trophies that we've won. Like player trophies, like the Maxwell, Quarterback of the Year, Receiver of the Year, all that stuff. Like, because, again, I tried keeping track of those, and I kind of lost it, because there was a few years where we just didn't win any, and then in the last, like, 4 or 5 years, we've won a whole bunch. But, yeah. Once again, we skipped time, or quarterback split time. I mentioned in one of the Louisiana Monroe videos that I wanted to turn injuries off for that dynasty, because it always makes you split time with the quarterbacks. You know, like always one gets injured for some reason, and it's super annoying, because it's never like a game injury. It's always like, 3 weeks, and you have 2 quarterbacks on the roster who throw for over like 1,500 yards, and it just looks stupid, and it could affect your season. So I know it's realistic, but for the sake of this dynasty, dude, this is a 20-year-old game. You know, it is what it is. So in this dynasty, I did not do that. All these videos have been well recorded very long ago in advance. So it's a done deal here. We're going to continue to see injuries galore. It's always to the quarterback position, though. It's never to anybody else. I guess running backs do. That's why you get like 4 or 5 guys who have like over 200 yards rushing on this season. But yeah, so here are all the numbers. The rest of the numbers, how they all stack up. Mitch Skinner, the defensive tackle, leads the team in TFLs. I haven't really glossed over the other ones. It's really just down to just like, there's not a whole lot more to highlight. I think we only have, I said 2 seasons in the last video, because that's where I've kept track on my phone. My spreadsheet goes up to the 2021 season, which is next year. So we had this year and the next season. But I still have like multiple parts sitting in my editing software left to record. So I think I might do like another year or 2 that I forgot to put down in my phone when I initially edited them or recorded them. So we might have more than just the 2 seasons. So I do, what I can say, because I don't want to give too much, but what I can say is that I tried to end this series at a good spot. I don't think it might have been exactly the whole 20 years that we were talking about. And since I recorded these, it's been longer than that. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're in the 21st or 22nd season now for this game. Or years since this game came out, because I think this game presumably would have came out summer of 2003, I think. So, so we're now, probably a couple months away from the 21st anniversary of NCAA 04. So, Yeah, yeah, I lost my train of thought. But essentially, I could have went for a little bit longer, but I didn't just leave the save when I stopped recording. I think I officially retired, so I don't even think I can go back and look at stats. I just wanted a bunch of finality to it. I've been doing this series for 2 years now. It's going to be 2 years in July or August, so it's time to come to a close with College Football 25 coming out too. I'm thinking about doing some stuff in that, even though this is mostly a retro gaming centric channel. Sorry, a retro gaming centric channel. That might be fun, but anyway, looking over top 25 polls here, we round things out. UAB comes in at 2, who is first in recruiting. They have an undefeated season, man. They just got completely overlooked. That's nuts. Colorado State, who won a national title not that long ago, comes in at 4. Some more familiar faces. Ohio State, again, hovering around 10. Wisconsin, again, hovering around 15. That seems to be kind of where they're stuck, but that's where they are. Virginia Tech, who was the runner-up last year, is at 19. And then South Carolina, Kentucky, and Arkansas all sneak into the top 25, as does Central Michigan with an 11-3 season. Very impressive for them out of the MAC. So... and then we are going to finally look over the final standings for the Big Ten. We win now. We have a 2-game cushion, so it's probably our most dominant performance in the Big Ten as we go perfect on the year. And there you see there's a bunch of teams kind of all over the place. Minnesota, all 4 of their wins were in conference, so they kind of fudged the standings a little bit, even though they had a pretty terrible year. And Indiana, same with them. They won all 3 of their wins were conference games, so they kind of emerged from last place, which we're so used to seeing them in last place because they always are bad. I think it's been 3 or 4 or 5 straight seasons where when we go to play them, they're a 1-win team. So now we can get over the offseason stuff. You guys can look at that. Again, more juniors declaring for the draft. I'm not going to stop you because, I'm not going to waste the points. We don't recruit a whole lot anymore. We don't really need to. We don't have a need to. So if you guys want to leave, you can. I'm not wasting 48 points to try and convince you to stay when you're not even thinking about staying. So blue chips everywhere. Blue chips, they're here in Illinois because that's what we do. A ton of 2 stars and 1 and even a 1 star. It's kind of weird. It must have been recruiting assistants that did that for me because I would not target a 1-star recruit. I don't know. Once again, for the second straight year, we are not top. Oklahoma is the top recruiting class with 12 5-stars. Jeez. And UAB is second. Interesting. Air Force is above us, so the 2 teams in the national title are 4 and 5. Ohio State is here at 11. New Mexico State, who seems to keep hanging around here in the top 10 the last few years, they're up here. Miami is still in the top 25 per usual. Interesting there. Central Michigan, who was at 25, they're in at 21. Interesting. And then Rice is at 25. And just to show you where Wisconsin is, Wisconsin, I think I just skipped a little bit past. Wisconsin just happened to be at 27, but that's where they are because they haven't really been in the top 25 in recruiting in the last couple seasons. So, but they still managed to beat us, so I guess they still have a good team. But as we go through training results and cutting and whatnot, I'll go back to my ramblings earlier in the video talking about, maybe doing some College 25 content. But ultimately the plan is I'm hoping to get to drip feed the rest of these Northwestern videos before the college football season starts, which would be sometime in late August. So I'm hoping to get there before, College Football 25 comes out or before the season starts, which we hopefully should be. And then the ULM Dynasty is just going to run. It's just going to be the thing that runs. I'm going to try and bridge the gap between the 2 series, kind of run 2 at a time, since the football games are just the easiest to do content with. I want to do a baseball series really badly, but I'm very uneducated when it comes to kind of the learning curve of playing MVP baseball, and simming those games doesn't work as well. I could probably still do it as a GM mode and maybe do something there. I've seen a couple series from some channels that I enjoy attempt that, so I might do that. But this is now turning into basically a channel update for some reason. I have no idea why, but it's just because I've recorded so many of these videos within the last few weeks that it just kind of becomes run of the mill here. You guys know what it is, and if you really want to get a good look at the roster, that's all on screen. So whatever I could tell you, the video is doing it for me. So that's why I edit these videos the way that I do. So all the information that you want is being presented on the screen while I just ramble about absolutely nothing except this channel. So moving ahead now with the rest of the video, obviously there are, again, kind of like last year, there's some numbers that are a little bit lower than they should be, but, we still have 99s and 98s across the roster. I'm just confident saying that we have the best one every year because it's true. It is true. We have yet to have really an elite, I don't know. I want to say we haven't had an elite all-around team, but we kind of have. I mean, just every time we look at the players leaving, it's all 98s, 97s, 99s. But either way, so we're moving into the 2021 season now. So it is our 19th year, I guess, is what the Sports Illustrated is telling us. We don the cover of Sports Illustrated because, of course, we do. We come into the season ranked number 1. I think last year we were, number 6 or number 4, maybe? But here's a look at our schedule. We have 3 ranked opponents on it. It's still a relatively weak schedule comparatively to where we normally are. But it's been weak for the last few years because we just... the Big Ten has just gotten, I don't know, I want to say it's gotten worse, but I really don't think it has. The same teams always trip us up every year, but normally Purdue or Penn State trips themselves into a decent season, and they haven't done that in a very long time, so it's normally just Wisconsin and Ohio State that we're kind of waiting on. I thought about changing West Virginia since West Virginia is ranked, but I said, give me the smoke, give me all the smoke. So we're going to start our season off against the Mountaineers at home at Ryan's Field, number 1 versus number 11. It's a big game for us to try and take on, and we come up big, 45-21. So I did not want to derail West Virginia's season, but I will do it all in the name of another national title. And there you see an 80 piece. 80. We dropped 77 2 years ago in Illinois, and now we finally achieve 80. I don't think we've ever broken that, but 80 points on UCF gets us to 2-0, and then a big victory on the road over Ole Miss gives us our 3rd win of the season. We've just bullied the Rebels all Dynasty long, and I'm fine with it. Same with Arkansas State. We bullied them as well, as we beat them 54-7. So massive victories all around. Our next game in the shoe against Ohio State ends in another victory for us. We are finally reaching a point where I'm not worried about playing on the road against Ohio State, against the Buckeyes. So beating the Gophers again for probably the 12th year in a row. And then we also hand a brutal whooping to the Hoosiers on the road. So we enter our bye week in week 9, again 7-0. And this time, Wisconsin has no shot. They are number 11. They're actually having a great year, but we just come up big this time. We have really not dominated Wisconsin at all, even in years where we are better than they are. But that will probably most likely give us the Big Ten again, unless we could lose a game. But Ohio State, I think, is right now the only team in the running for that. As we pick up 2 more massive wins against Purdue and Penn State, who are both having terrible years yet again. And Michigan is also having a terrible year, but they do manage to beat us. So we do pick up a loss, but again, Ohio State's the only team I think could be in the run for the Big Ten, but we beat them. So I think we're still good, but we do pull up a loss, and that loss is going to drop us to 11. And so Illinois, we beat our rival yet again, because we always do. And there you have it, another Big Ten title. So our 2nd straight Big Ten title. It's our 1st consecutive conference title in this dynasty, but because of that loss, I think that's going to keep us out of the BCS game. So it's kind of bittersweet, I guess, because normally it correlates. Those 2 games correlate, and there you have it. We're going to play in the Fiesta Bowl, which I think is the first time we're playing in the Fiesta Bowl. I think we're going to play number 7 Oregon State. So Oregon State's been around in the top here, kind of in and out, but they're finally back up here. So here's the matchup as it lays out, and in the next video we're going to cover the Fiesta Bowl. So hope to see you all there in that next video.